Welcome to the Andy and Friends podcast. I'm your friend Andy, and on this episode, I have Tech Hustler, fellow YouTuber and crypto enthusiast. Tech Hustler is a crypto OG, so we talk all about the early days of mining Bitcoin and his crypto journey, all the things he wished he knew when he was just getting started. We talk a lot about DePIN, or decentralized physical infrastructure networks, which we are both very bullish on. He shares some alpha about early plays in that space. And we also talk about Braveheart, the Highland Games, and his upcoming karate combat fight. Let's jump into it. There's a lot of places I want to go in this conversation, but I want to start with this shirt you're wearing.
Oh,
what is
nice.
karate combat, and should I be scared?
You don't have to be afraid of me. But karate combat, it's a combat fighting league like the UFC, but they're based around crypto. They have their karate combat, karate crypto, which they pay the fighters in. And you can even bet with the karate crypto within their app. And it's actually sort of cool within the application. You get 88 free karate, and then when the fights come up, you can bet on your favorite fighter, and it's called Only Up Gaming. So even if you lose, you don't lose any of your coin, but if you win, you can gain some coin, and then your fighter will get a percentage of the winnings and stuff like that. But anyways, I'm wearing this and I'm talking about it because I'm supposed to be fighting at Consensus 2024 in the IFC, which is like a sub-league of karate combat for crypto influencers, if you will. So it's not, we don't have the contract yet. I have the verbal, and I should be fighting tactical investing. If he doesn't back out, there's no tactical.
Tactical investing is another friend of my channel. It'll be very exciting to see you and Alex go head to head. I will be at Consensus.
You need to have a podcast with him as well.
Yeah, get the other side of the story, then I can start the hype and the drama.
Try and squeeze some secrets out for me, because look, I have no fighting experience besides watching YouTube and training in my garage. Now, I've been in some fights, but he's actually trained Taekwondo for 5 years, and I hear he's proficient in sparring. So I'm going to have my work cut out for me, but I'm training like a real athlete. And that's sort of why I wanted to get into this.
And it's interesting, you're both at one point, I don't know if he's still active, but you've both been in the military too. So there's that.
That's another angle. That was another angle for trying to promote the fight. He was in the Air Force and I was in the Navy. Not really on the Navy side. I've been stationed with the Marines. While I was stationed with the Marines at Camp Lejeune, I was a corpsman. So I've seen more of the Marine life, but I am officially a sailor.
I like it. Well, Consensus is going to happen here in Austin. I will be at Consensus. If this happens there,
May 30th, May 31st, something like that. So,
okay. Well, I will try to be in that audience watching.
Oh, you're going to be there.
Slug it out.
So.
Okay, awesome. So I think that is an incredibly unique thing. I don't think I've ever had anybody on the podcast who is about to start decking it out with another YouTuber. I love it.
Yeah, I've never done anything like this. I'm treating it very serious, but as like a bucket list type of thing. So really excited for it. And I'm excited for the training just to get in shape. And I've got to lose like 25 pounds, but excited to do that as well.
So if this goes well, does this mean will you do more? Will you then challenge like BitBoy Crypto?
I want to fight BitBoy. I want to go all the way to the top. Like I said, I'm pretty old, so I don't have too many fights in me. But I definitely want to be number one. I want to be the champion, whatever that may be. And I would love to, if this IFC league works out, or maybe with karate combat, I would like to work more with them outside of fighting, so maybe doing promotion and stuff like that. So just I got a very cool opportunity right here, and I want to make sure I use it.
Yeah, well, sounds fun.
Yeah.
So okay, part of this is because of your connection with, being a YouTuber like me, and you talk about crypto like me. But how would you, if someone's asking you how you describe your YouTube channel, what would you tell them?
I review new crypto projects. We mine cryptocurrency, and we go over applications and websites that you can use to earn some cryptocurrency. And we shuffle in some other stuff. I like to go to all these conferences and make these GoPro style videos and do interviews. Like I just came back from ETH Denver. In the actual ETH Denver was okay. It was really overwhelming, just a ton of projects. But there's this separate DePIN event by IoTex that just put me in touch with a lot of brand new projects, stuff that I had no idea that existed, and it put some faces to the projects that I've been talking about on my channel for a few years now. So.
Yeah, well, the crypto conferences, that's how we met in person for the first time at Mining
Yeah, it's mining
Disrupt, but
disrupt.
then again at Flux's Cypherpunk.
Cypherpunk, yep. And that's where I got turned on to Karate Combat because they had a presentation over there. And Cryptos R Us George, he's one of the partners with the IFC. So I got to meet him there. That's why we go to these events, to network and stuff like that. So yeah, that's where I caught the bug. I was actually supposed to fight in the first IFC, but things didn't work out. The timing wasn't right. So I definitely want to fight now.
So how long ago did you start your YouTube channel?
I started my YouTube channel, probably close to 9 or 10 years
Oh,
ago.
wow.
It
I did not
started
realize
off
that.
as, well, I just set up a YouTube channel and started playing around. I was into fitness at first and learning how to dunk a basketball. Believe it or not. Yeah, that's what I did. So I was making videos around that, not consistently. Got to dunk a basketball, but I thought I was going to be this professional dunker. Well, I'm a dreamer. But anyway, so that fizzled out, and I was still trying to do the fitness stuff. I also I throw. I'm a competitive thrower, like shot put, and I did Highland Games and did very well. So I was trying to implement that to YouTube. Nothing really worked. And then around 2016, I started getting into mining crypto and just recording what I was doing. And that's when things really started to take off and really turn my channel into a crypto channel, Tech Hustler. Before then it was called like TTG, Train to Go. So
Nice. Okay. Lots of follow-up questions to everything you just said. One, did you get decent at dunking? Were you successfully dunking?
I was successfully dunking on my personal Instagram. I still have some videos up where yes, I was dunking off the dribble, off the lob, off the backboard. I was officially a dunker, but to be able to dunk at 5'10" and 220 pounds, it takes consistent training. And if you take off a couple weeks, the dunk is gone, and you got it like starting all, back over. So the consistency wasn't there. And after a while, I was over it.
Yeah. And the
Moved on to
last time
something else.
next hobby.
Yeah.
Last time we chatted at I think it was Cypherpunk, you had told me about you did the Highland Games, which is just crazy to me because the Highland Games are like wild stuff.
Yeah.
Like what were I always liked watching the caber toss. Is that the big poles?
The caber where we throw a tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's
like
a
a
tree
telephone
that's
pole.
been dried out and shaved of the bark so it can last longer. And it's called the caber toss. So, but yeah, I did that for about 2 years. I was very successful as an amateur, like blew through the amateur. I've got tons of awards. And then I went to semi-pro and did well, won 3 in a row, and then started competing against some real athletes and not doing as well. But then COVID happened and everything was shut down for about 2 years. And by then I was into crypto and doing YouTube. But I love the sport. I was always looking for like a little bit of culture for myself. And even though I'm not Scottish, if you're white, you got something in you from Europe. So anyways, so it was like, yeah, sort of having a piece of culture, wearing the kilt, learning about the history in Scotland and, how it all started and watching Braveheart. But yeah, and it was cool. And coming from being a dunker, I was very explosive and very strong. So I did well. Throwing
What
stones, throwing weights, and throwing cabers, aka trees. So
what was your event or competition of choice doing that?
doing that, well, there is 9 events in that, and oh, throwing stones. There's something just so like ancestral about just picking up a stone and throwing it as far as you can. It's almost like that stone is saying, throw me, pick me up and throw me. So there's one called the open stone where you have a very heavy stone, 40 to 50 pounds. And then there is that open stone. No, Braemar is where you throw the very heavy stone, and then there's an open stone. So those were some of my favorite events. They were also some of the easiest ones. Another one we had, I forgot what it's called, but we have a pitchfork and we have a burlap sack that might weigh 20 pounds, and you're trying to throw that sack up as high as you can and make it go over a bar. So I've set some records doing that here in North Carolina and Georgia. That was another one of my sheaf toss.
That's
But the
cool.
whole Highland Games, it's an experience. They, of course, have the bands out. They have the bagpipes. They've got sheep herding. They're doing dance competitions. Everyone's drinking. Everyone's drinking scotch and beer, of course. So, yeah, if there's ever a Highland Games or a Celtic festival in your town, check it out. It's going to be a good time. I'm glad we're
Is the
talking about this, man. I'm glad we are.
Yeah,
Yeah. Cool.
it's interesting stuff. The stone toss, that's what the one that makes it the appearance in Braveheart. They
Yep.
do the stone toss. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
Well, on that topic of this Scottish infused tech hustler, I'm looking back here at your oldest videos. We need to bring this long hair
Oh
William
my
Wallace
goodness.
character
Yeah, you're
back.
taking it back. Jeez. And I've deleted like 1,000 videos. I'm glad. I'm glad I deleted them though.
Yeah, we all have those early ones.
Yeah,
So
I'll shoot you my personal Instagram later, and you can check some stuff out.
I love it. So you said 2016 is when you started talking about crypto on the channel. Is
Yes.
2016 also when you got into crypto for the first time?
I don't remember exactly. I mean, since 2013, I had been hearing about Bitcoin. Never really looked into it. Bitcoin, internet currency, whatever. I'm playing basketball, whatever. And then I just kept hearing about it. And then I heard about this guy that was living about an hour away. Now he had a basement full of GPUs and he was making, well, he was probably making Ethereum, but, telling me he was making Bitcoin or whatever. And I was just like, what? You can GPUs, you can go buy a GPU, plug it in, and it's going to pay for itself. Or so I was like, yeah, let me do. I had no idea that mining was a thing. And so 2016, 2017, I started with Antminer S7. Actually, I had Antminer S3s just to sort of learn and play around with. And then I got Antminer S7s. And then I finally stepped it up, and Antminer S9s were coming out. So I was I was loading up on those and L3 pluses. So, and just in my garage at home, mining, I had 2 windows, one for an intake with a fan in it, and one with an exhaust, and driving my neighbors crazy because my garage is just constantly humming. Uh, Electric bills, $1,200, $1,500, $2,000, but it was all worth it. It was all worth it. I mined a lot of Bitcoin with S9s.
That's
So,
crazy.
and that
So I
was
mean that
2016, 2017. Then once the bull market started to take off, the bull run started to happen, I started selling off miners then. It was just, I was sort of amazed that the price of the miners increased as well. But yeah, that's when I got started. Started off in a grow tent. And actually, I started off with GPUs in a grow tent, and then I moved on to the amp miners and filled up the whole garage.
I feel like that you were mining on S3s and even S7s. You were mining before the S9 from Bitmain. I feel
I
like
think
that
the
gives
S9s
you,
were out. I just back then you had to like wake up in the middle of the night,
yep,
and you had to pay in crypto. And I was like,
yep.
damn, I don't want to pay. I don't want to pay in crypto. I'm not ready for that to start spending this. So I had to buy everything secondhand. But after, so many months, I finally got the hang of it and just started buying S9s and experimenting, buying other miners and then just reselling them as soon as I got them.
I feel
But
like
and now
though
you
that
pay with anything, you pay with credit cards.
yeah, but I feel like if you were mining on those or mining around the time of the S9, that qualifies you to call yourself a crypto OG, right?
I feel like I'm a crypto OG. Yeah, I've been in a
Yeah.
couple bull markets. But yeah, it might have been the second or third batch of S9s, but I was there pretty early. And I had friends though that had been there since the S1, and I
Wow.
and I BS'd around, but it wasn't my time to
Yeah.
get rich.
Yeah. Did you have you kept a lot of the Bitcoin you mined from those early days?
I haven't sold any Bitcoin. That's
Yes.
probably pretty that's the number one rule I can tell you about investing in Bitcoin is just never sell it. I
Uh-huh.
mined a lot, and then Bitcoin went to 20K. It went down to like 3,500, so I bought a little bit more, and then really wasn't buying. I was still mining, but just buying the dips. I wanted to buy at 15K this last time, but I got caught in at 30, but I still doubled up on my money. So I just try to buy low and save it. It's a long-term thing. All
Yeah.
the other stuff that I play with is sort of gambling, and that's what I use to make money, cash out, or buy even more Bitcoin.
I was on a ski trip with friends when in 2019 Bitcoin dipped below $4,000, and I was there on my Cash App buying multiple coins in front of them. They're like, "What are you doing? What is going on right now? Is
Yeah.
this like a scam? What is this thing?" And I'm like,
Hmm.
"Oh, it's just you have to have a little bit of like a risk appetite. You got to have some like oomph to you to
Yeah.
buy in times like that because it feels like the world is coming to an end, right?"
That was a rough time because I'd never seen anything like it, and I was making so much money, and I was just like, "Yeah, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin," and everyone was buying at 19, at 20,000, and then it dipped. Like I said, around $4,000. Now I'm like, shit. I'm dunking people. I waited like a year before I came around some people, but you just dollar cost average, or when it seems abnormally no low, go ahead and buy. But
Yeah,
but yeah, it was an interesting time, and yeah,
when there's fear in the streets, when people are scared, but you are absolutely confident that the thing you're going to be buying is quality and has a bright future and is an opportunity, those are the sweet spots. I love it. So it sounds like Bitcoin was a huge crypto win for you. Obviously, you mined it early, you held on to it, you bought some really good times, which I'm thankful I bought around those times too. What?
Ethereum as well. I did good on
Okay.
Ethereum. I'm skipping around, but I
Uh-huh.
think I bought into Bitcoin around 2014, maybe 2015. I think I bought Bitcoin at like $1,500, and Ethereum, and I didn't buy enough. And Ethereum was like $20, and I did load up on Ethereum that helped me build out my mining operation at my house. So Ethereum was a big win. But not as much as some of these DePINs, these DePIN
Yeah.
cryptos that I've been playing with lately.
So, what have been some of the latest wins, maybe in the realm of DePIN?
Mobile, mobile token for sure. Um, I luckily I found a partner. I had these radios, and they're a little bit of a pain to set up, or antennas for 5G and whatnot. And I was moving back and forth, and I just didn't really have a good area to put them in. So I've been known just to put stuff in the box and I'll figure it out later. Well, luckily I found someone in Florida that has a radio tower, and I had three of these antennas just sitting around. So I sent them to him, and he got them up, and we were just stacking up mobile tokens. And
Wow.
this is when it was only we were making a couple dollars a day on like $7,000 of equipment. If it was me, I would have just kept the stuff in the boxes. But luckily he had a vision, and we just sat there passively stacked. And you know what happened to mobile token over the past like 4 months? It's shot through the roof. And
Rocket ship.
yeah, and at one time, we split things in half, but I think our account was like over 150 grand that I wouldn't have had because I wasn't patient and I didn't want to mine in a bear market, and I was just getting fed up. But Helium or mobile token was definitely a win. And in the last market, Helium was a win. Mining Helium, stacking it up before the IoT mobile and all that. But so that
So in
go
the
ahead.
last market, everyone there was a helium craze, IoT stuff, setting up the little hotspots everywhere, and that has largely fizzled out. Now there still is a future in some of that, but for people who are burned out on all that stuff, why can you explain why this whole Helium Mobile thing might be different?
Uh there's a big market for it. To set up these Wi-Fi or these 5G and antennas, they don't broadcast far, so it's either AT&T is going to start coming down your street and putting them on your light post. Maybe they'll even pay for you to put one on your property or something like that. With Helium and with mobile, you can go ahead and do that. You can get your whole neighborhood set up on Wi-Fi, or businesses, your whole city on Wi-Fi and 5G, and you're gonna earn crypto. I mean, it's saving AT&T, all these other companies, they've got to be saving money by us doing it. So I and they have a partnership with T-Mobile. They have my phone's in the car, but they also have their mobile plan, which is only $20 a month. And then if you have mapping on, it's going to pay for itself more than likely. So I'm just keeping my fingers crossed on Helium, or more so mobile. I'm not cashing out. I'm hoping that that's the one that I can get at least another 10x out of.
Yeah, IoT, it was like in theory it was a great idea. But it was all theoretical. It's like if we can get customers who will run these, scooters or take your pick of stuff on our low power network,
Yeah.
then we can make some revenue. Mobile is totally different in that it's a consumer facing thing.
Hmm.
Like everyone has cell phones, everyone wants data plans, everyone needs phone service. And when Helium released it, they were, when they first started, it was $5 a month for unlimited data. But even
Yeah.
at 20
Hmm.
bucks a month, unlimited calling and data and
Still a great
whatever,
deal.
it's like this makes a lot of sense to me. I see the value proposition. Well, way to go on getting those set up so early. That's amazing.
Well, and another problem with IoT was the spoofing. With these new radio antennas and stuff like that, I don't think there's a problem with spoofing, but that was probably the number one problem with IoT. Um, but I'm still keeping my fingers crossed. Yeah, maybe someone will use it. I don't know, but there is that spoofing issue.
Yeah. So how do you you've done lots of crypto stuff. I mean, I watch your channel. I know you're into like a billion different things, just like me.
Yeah,
That's the good side and downside to this thing we do.
yeah.
You're in like 60 to 100 different things. How do you approach crypto investing? Like, how do you think about this as an investment?
Well, man, that's a tough question. It all depends what it is. Um, a lot of it lately has been just taking risk, following stuff on Twitter. I got into this project actually in ETH Denver meme. Well, I call it a meme coin or whatever. I just seen a guy on the plane coming back from Denver, and he had a Karate Combat shirt on. So I was like, holy crap. I was like, dude, I'm going to be in Karate Combat, yada, yada, yada. And we exchanged information, and I didn't think of it until the next day, but I was just looking at his Telegram tag and it said Kulo on it. And I was like, what the hell's Kulo? I was like, all right, let me check it out. Whatever, I'll check it out. And it's like a meme coin on Matic or whatever. And they're working with the Karate Combat and stuff like that. So and it had like $1 million market cap at the time. And I was just like, you know what? What if I could have got in at $1 million market cap on some other meme coins, Pepe or Bonk or even Dogecoin, which I probably did get in under $1 million market cap, and the rest could have been history. But anyways, so I was like, let me just take a risk. Let me just take a risk here, what's the worst thing that can happen? I can lose some money. So I just took some demo and I swapped, which I earned for nothing, absolutely free. Well, I bought the device, but so I swapped over some demo, like $250 worth, and within about 2 weeks, it was up to $10,000. So I was just like, but that's just one example. Taking a calculated risk, maybe. So that's on meme coins. Now let me try and get back to your question. Other than that, I try to stick with Bitcoin. I try to stick with all the big players. These other projects, just being into crypto, I don't always do my own research, but if you're buying it, if you're promoting it, and I'm talking to the other guys, the hobbyists or whoever it may be, then I might just take another risk and get into it that way. And other than that, I try to do mining projects, whether it's DePIN style mining or other mineable cryptos.
You're talking about risk, which I totally agree with. I mean, everything in crypto is inherently risky.
Yeah.
All of investing, even the S&P 500, is technically,
Yeah.
there's risk involved. It can go down, but we're all hoping it continuously goes up.
Mhm.
But crypto is obviously elevated levels of risk. So
Yeah.
how do you think about risk, or how do you mitigate some of the risk, or how do you know when to take a bigger risk or a small? Like, how do you think about that?
Well, I have built my position in crypto where I can stop buying crypto right now, and I think I'll be fine. I've mainly Bitcoin and Ethereum are my two biggest plays. So, um, my level of risk is all my bills are paid. I have nothing to lose. And I don't invest in just anything. I don't invest in everything. Yeah, it's you know what? How about you tell me, how do you calculate your risk?
Yeah. So, I mean, I think my approach is much the same as yours in that I absolutely advocate for having foundational layers to your portfolio. So for me, it's Bitcoin. 45 to 50% of my entire crypto portfolio is just Bitcoin. I hold a little bit of Ethereum, but it's my main anchor is Bitcoin. And then I break up the rest of my portfolio in terms of like what are some higher risk than Bitcoin, but still low risk compared to other stuff. So maybe those are like larger caps, top 10, top 25 cryptos. Maybe I'll give 25% of my portfolio to that, 30% of my portfolio to that. And then the higher the risk, the smaller the percentage of portfolio. And my goal is I want to be have exposure to really high risk, like super high risk sometimes, uh, cryptos in my portfolio. But I want that if they go to zero,
Yeah.
the material like effect on my portfolio is very minimal. So
Yes.
asymmetric bets, loads of upside, almost no downsides. How I kind of view it.
Yes. Yeah, I do like to go back and look at some of maybe the top 100 cryptos and see where there is who's down the most, who's still down 90%, where the most profit can be made, like Cadena or Nervos or something like that. I will go back and look at stuff like that, but I mean, right now my portfolio is pretty full, and the only real cryptos that I'm even getting into is just really stuff that I'm promoting, stuff that I'm mining. The cryptos that the hardware that I have back here, those are sort of what I'm sticking with now. The DPIN stuff, I'm risking it on DPIN right now.
Yeah, seems like watching your channel and just talking to you, and we've had lots of conversations around this, but it seems like a focus of yours is also a focus of mine, which is DPIN. So why are you excited about DPIN? Why do you see so much opportunity there?
I'm excited about DePIN because I've seen these little sensors make just as much money as ASIC miners. I've seen DePINs explode, Hive Mapper, Demo, Mobile Token, and Hive Mapper and Demo. Those are two other ones that I was mining very early on. Sort of got frustrated with the hardware, and stopped using the hardware. And if I would have kept using it, I could have made, who knows, tens of thousands of dollars. I still did well, but I could have made tens of thousands of dollars, if I would have just kept mining when it wasn't that profitable. But, well, and that's like the making money side of things. I do believe in DePIN period. I call it digital infrastructure. I don't really even understand the acronym they got for it, but I just feel like all this information that's collected is going to be, very valuable in the future. Maybe not in my lifetime, but eventually we're going to be living in the metaverse and we're going to need all these DePIN hardware, all these sensors to just create a complete digital recreation live time of what's going on in the world.
Yeah, it feels to me like it's a next evolution of things that have already been happening and disrupting technology.
Yeah.
Like, I like the example of once upon a time we had taxi services, and
Mhm.
then Uber's like, oh, we can disrupt that instead of spending all this money on hiring people directly and and buying a whole fleet of cars and whatever. Let's just bring normal people on, use technology to make up the difference of connecting them and mapping them and putting them in the right place, and then they can have all the expenses on their own, and then we can build this fleet, instantaneously. And what I love about DPIN is it's like taking that same idea, but decentralizing the entirety of the network instead of having a truly centralized entity controlling it and making all the decisions. While there is still a company in the loop, but the payouts per individuals who are building this network, there's greater opportunities there. So I feel like the adoption could end up being even bigger. And also, we know like data runs the world right now. It's like everybody
It's
wants to
already
buy
being collected. I mean, the big companies have already been building their networks and collecting all of this data. With DePIN, we can control it and we
yeah.
can earn from it, and you can only release the data that you want. So,
Yeah, I mean, if this gets big enough, in a consumer has the option of option A, the traditional tech company that you use it, it's a free product or whatever, but you know that they're tracking all your data, but you get nothing in return. You have no control of it. Or now there's a competitor, maybe it's not quite as good yet, but it's getting there, offers you the same thing, still free to use, except this time for using that data, they pay you something. I
exactly.
mean, which one are people going to choose? It's like
Exactly.
it just makes total sense to me.
And like you said, here it is. It might not be that good yet, but we're going to reward you and it's going to grow. It's going to be better soon. That's another thing. Getting in early on these projects. I've got probably 10 or 15 different DePIN projects behind me. Not all of them are going to be successful, but you'll never know unless you get in as soon as possible, and that's where you're going to make the most rewards. And if it does work out, those rewards are going to make you a lot of money.
Yeah. And some of these are free apps, but even the ones we have to buy something, like you buy a demo device, AutoPie, or you buy a Hive Mapper camera or
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, we're talking about a couple $100s.
Couple $100, when you could be spending $5,000 on a Bitcoin miner, and
Yeah.
have to pay $3 a day in electricity
Yep.
on top of the
So,
other infrastructure you need.
yeah. So you've already mentioned a few, but maybe these are, your all your favorites. But I'm curious, what are your favorite DPIN projects right now?
My favorite, Weather XM. I'm interested, Weather XM. They were supposed to go mainnet like a month ago. Who knows what's going on, but that's the world of crypto. And so I'm excited to see what they do. GeoNet is another one. I think the GeoNet miners are making like $15 a day or something ridiculous like that. And I've got two right here. What else is well, here's one that I know you like, the Nadix network. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you can download the app and start earning tokens. And I believe Nadix is going to go live. And, even if you're not making a lot, you're not going to make so much from an application. But if you stack those coins up for maybe a year or so, or maybe through the next bear market to the next bull market, it could be like Hive Mapper, or it could be like Demo, which those two are still great projects as well. Actually, I have a little list right here. I got a little thing. There's this new project called Streamer,
Mm, I love Streamer.
Streamr, and from what I talked to them a little bit in ETH Denver. They just went live like yesterday. They've already got a contract with Demo and some other contracts, but they're going to be it's like a live streaming network, but they're going to be able to use the devices that you already have, like sensors built into your car, and just provide real-time data. Maybe like the camera I have right here, security cameras, anything you already have, you're going to be able to use the data from that. So Streamer's another interesting one. Peak, I don't have it here, but Peak's another one. It's that they're building a lot of these projects like Silencio, Nadix, um, Clep or Y something. So yeah, those are
I'm
a few of my top ones.
I'm making a video on Peak right now. I think
Oh,
that's going to be an interesting one because it's a layer one specifically for DePIN,
yeah.
which seems like a
And
win to
they've got a
me.
lot of very good projects running on it. So there's that one loop too, where
Mm-hmm.
you can earn with your Tesla. So let me see if there's XNet. I'll be doing XNet. That's sort of like Helium. Um, might not be bad to try and get on some of these other Helium like projects, because Helium's not everywhere, So there's XNet, there's Wayru, and Carrier One. Those are the three like Helium competitors. But once I get back to my normal posting schedule, you'll see them all on my channel. So
Love
subscribe.
it. Yeah. And what you said a minute ago about like, you might not earn a lot or you might earn a lot, like yeah, that's the gamble aspect. You don't know if you're spending your time lucratively or not. However, if you can do a lot of these or all of these and you can find a winner, those winners can be massive. I like you, I haven't run my Hive Mapper as much as I probably should have, and I could have made more money or whatever from the device directly. But people in my community, Sleep Money Club, one of our members, I like to tell the story because he's been in Hive Mapper for a long time, and he literally paid for his entire wedding just from the earnings of his Hive Mapper device. I'm like, so, like 20 or 30 grand plus or whatever
Yeah.
from a device that costs
Hmm.
$300. And these are real opportunities, and there's only going to be more of them, right?
Yeah, exactly. You just got to get in early. I had a subscriber that got in on Demo, and he like works with the local government or something like that, so he has access to their vehicles. And I believe
Oh,
over 100 vehicles, and he was able to put
damn.
autopies in each one of them. And he told me he made over $100,000,
Wow.
from Demo, and he reinvested those into miners during the bear market, not even to run, just to sell here in a couple months, so that's another great hustle, buying miners in the bear market. But
That's
ASIC
super cool.
miners, by the way.
So, I mean, maybe you covered your favorite projects, and maybe this encompasses this next question. But of all the devices, not the apps, but specifically the devices you played with in this space, are
Mhm.
there any standouts that you've had the most fun with, or you've enjoyed setting up or playing with?
Well, like I said, the Weather XM, I'm sort of a weather geek. I was always into meteorology and stuff like that. So I think it's cool that not only you can have a weather station on your house and see your local weather real time and have it online, but you can also earn some crypto from it. So that's one of my favorite ones. I don't know. I just like looking at it. I think it's cool. Hive Mapper is Hive Mapper is a staple. Wherever I should have ran it in the past, I just didn't like fiddling with it. But it wasn't even that hard. You just really need to have your phone connected to it. But I live in a small town. I only drive a couple miles a day. I drive to the same places. I try to take different routes, but even just with I don't know, 20 minutes of driving a day, I'm still making like $150 a week. So, yeah. So Hive Mapper still a staple, and I don't think they're going anywhere. Let me see if I got a different one right here as far as hardware. Oh, here's a new one, Ator. They have this device that's setting you up like a Tor network on your house or whatever, and they do bandwidth shelling and shelling, bandwidth selling and stuff like that. But definitely another I don't have the device here yet, but definitely another project to look into. And I've got a ton of Fry's crypto stuff here as well. So
Fry's has a weather one too, don't they?
yes, they have a weather one. I just set it up last week, and even with the uh I was talking to a buddy of mine, the Gristle King, and he was saying they're sort of like a parasite, but let's say a good one, because on any device they can like piggyback on and you can earn Fry. So with the weather miner, you can earn Fry. With the GeoNet miner, you can dual mine and earn Fry. You can do that with a lot of their different miners. But yes, they have a weather. Actually, they have 3 different weather miners. Actually, 2. The low end, high end, and then you're able to have the WXL miner as well. But
Yeah.
they're doing
Yeah,
a lot. They're
Fry's.
coming out with more stuff every day.
Yeah, I don't have any Fry's miners, but I know that they have like so many of them, every kind of noise and
Yes.
camera vision and weather and data and everything you can imagine. It's
Yeah.
kind of crazy.
I got to go on. I want to earn around 10,000 Fry. I'm trying to get to about $100 a day in Fry. So that's my goal, and I've got a ton of miners in a couple locations. So hopefully we'll get them set up soon.
Yeah. So, sidebar question here. I mean, obviously YouTube and crypto is full time for you, like it is for me. But do you actually live off of your crypto, or is it all stay in market until you're ready to exit?
Well, I live off crypto. I with sponsorships is really what pays my bills. So whenever you see a sponsored video or a sponsored ad, 9 times out of 10 they're paying in USDT, and that's what I cash out. My investments, I really don't touch anything. I probably should, but I've been known just to be patient and let things ride out. It's been a long time since I sold anything. Maybe little bits and pieces here and there, but yeah, I mainly live off of sponsorships. I do other stuff. I dabble in real estate. I do a lot of reselling on eBay. I resell miners here and there, but yeah, I guess you say
I
yes, I live off crypto.
I guarantee you've had these comments too, and I get them from time to time. But I have people who say you can pop in my comments on the channel and like, you're just talking about this. You can dump on all of us. We're just your exit liquidity. You're just a pump and dumper. I'm like, if you saw my actually selling habits, you'd be like, you should sell more often, Andy, because I go many long months without selling anything. I hold everything.
People ask me about trading. I've got another YouTuber friend that wanted to have me on their like crypto trading wars, and I'm like, I don't know what to do,
Yeah.
man. I just buy it when it's low, and every now and then, after I made some money, I'll take a couple bucks out, but yeah, I don't trade. I don't dump. Uh, I've never had nothing pump enough to dump, so it doesn't even matter. So. But I wouldn't do that. I'm very patient. So
Yes. Well, I think that's where all the real money is by being patient and not like selling it, because there's no denying that channels our size, and our channels aren't even that big compared to some of the actual giants in the space. But
it's
if you
happening.
talk about some,
It's happening for sure.
If you like talk about something, it can influence the price. The price can go up a little bit. It could go up 5% a day or something maybe. But I'm like, I just don't. Even if it went up 10 to 20% because of that effect, I just don't care about that. I want 1000x gains.
Yeah.
I don't want 5% gain. Like, I'm just not interested
because
in that.
It's going to be another transaction. It's another taxable transaction, so I don't bother. At first I did do that. I sat next to the computer, multiple screens, and tried to pretend like I was a trader, but I just lost thousands of dollars, so I was like, Nah, I'm good. I'm good. If I needed to make the money, maybe I would try, but I've learned to be very patient when it comes to crypto.
I like that. So I mean, as somebody who has obviously been through multiple full crypto cycles, which is very rare these days to talk to somebody like that. Like what can people who are listening to this, what can they do right now to prepare for this upcoming bull run?
You should have did it already. Really. You should have been stacking up when it was low. You should have been just putting in whatever you could afford to lose, whether it be $100 a week on the Cash App or your Coinbase or whatever. Um, I guess that's what you really need to do now. Just dollar cost average in whatever you can afford to lose still, even though I don't think you can lose with Bitcoin, but you just want a dollar cost average in. And if history repeats, it's going to go back down. There's going to be a crash. People are going to be like, oh, it's done. It's going to zero. The SEC is talking about regulation right now. So don't be scared when your money goes down. And remember, it'll go down for a couple years. But the best thing to do is dollar cost average. And when everything does go down, start watching these videos that these YouTubers are still putting out and keep the crypto bug alive. Keep the crypto bug alive. Do your own research. Get familiar with market caps and all the other terms. And yeah, you might have missed the bus. You might have missed the bus as far as this bull run. I've learned from experience, don't give too much advice when things are going up, because we're almost at the point everything's going to go up, but everything will probably go back down. Maybe it won't go down as low, but it's still going to go back down. So just try and dollar cost average in. Don't worry about getting rich. You would have got rich if you were doing that in the bear market. So just take it all in and just remember it.
I think that's good advice. I mean, I would agree. I definitely echo what you just said in that the best time was the bear market. The best
Yes.
time was at the very early, the very latest 6 months ago.
Beginning of the year, yeah.
Yeah, but I also don't believe it's too late. It's just you have more of an uphill battle ahead of you.
Yeah.
But I think what you're saying about like setting expectations and being patient is good, because I know that it's very tempting especially for newer people as they feel overwhelmed, they see all the possibilities, they see people getting rich around them. One, you need to remember that most of those people bought in a long time ago.
Yes.
But two, that FOMO is so dangerous. Like you will.
I know. I don't want to give it to you. I don't want to be responsible for you selling your house and buying, I don't even know, Kulo even, so.
What's your Kulo at today?
Kulo's down. Everything's down. It's probably down about 30%. Real strong community though. I will say that. And I think we've got a long ways to go in this bull run. I think we're going to dip for a little bit, maybe even through the halving, and then it's probably going to pump. But do your own research, not financial advice. But I do think things are going to pump here within the next couple months. I think we're going to see, at least $90,000 Bitcoin, and that's being very modest. I just want some of these alts to pump. I need some of those 1000Xs.
Uh-huh. Yeah, as we record this podcast, the price of Bitcoin is $64,000, whereas just like 4 days ago it was $73,000. So there's a little bit of a correction going on here, and it might go more. I don't know, but I think
that's the thing. Who knows? Yeah. Someone knows, but we're not going to figure it out.
Not us.
So don't care. Who cares? When I see crashes like that, I laugh. Like literally, I smile like, ha, ha, ha. And then I just go about my day, and in a couple of days it corrects itself, and don't sweat it. It's just money. It's not real.
Yeah, that's right. It's all imagination based. So given that you've seen multiple cycles, and I know that this one is already different because we have hit new all-time high before the halving, which has
Yes.
never happened before.
Never happened before.
Where do you see us in this cycle? Where are we at now, and where will we be at the end of the year, 2025, or what do you see?
I'm saying I thought we weren't going to see all-time highs until next year.
I'm
So I've been throwing. I was thinking the end of 2025. Just doing a little bit of math and history. So the ETFs definitely helped us get pumped before the halving. Um, but yeah, I don't know. But at the end of because really, even in the past, the halving never really made a difference. Everyone was pumped. All right, the halving, nothing would happen. And then 3-6 months later, then things would start to pump. So I tried to base things on history, but this history. It's a little different than last time. So I don't know. I've been trying to be modest. That way I don't set myself up for getting too sad if it doesn't happen. But there's really no telling. There is no telling. I feel like, could this be the super cycle? Could we see a $250,000 Bitcoin? Could we see $1 million Bitcoin? I have all those high hopes, but I don't know. I'd be happy to get towards 100,000 within 6 to 8 months, maybe. I don't know. I am just talking out of my butt, to be quite honest.
well, I think.
It's different, and to be honest, because I don't care really.
Mhm.
So I'm really not. The things I'm thinking about is like, when's that Cardano gonna pump? When's that XRP gonna pump? And nothing else like that has pumped. So the cycle is different. The cycle is different than last year. So I am lost. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I'm not selling my Bitcoin. I don't want to pay those taxes yet, and I don't have enough. So
Yeah. Well, I think it's also. I think. Yeah, I agree. I mean, no one knows for
what are
sure.
you thinking about this cycle? Because I have no idea. It's different.
Well, I thought we would see the bull market either at the very end of 2024 or probably sometime in 2025 until we just saw a new all-time high because of all this ETF craziness going on. But I think people, they have this idea of crypto. It's fast and it's high risk and big rewards and stuff, and so they think everything is fast. But like you said, you know, does the halving have an effect on the price? Yes, but it's just not the day it happens. Like everyone's like, the moment it happens, the price is going to shoot up. No, it takes months for that like effect to the slowing of supply to affect the market. So I think having some expectations set here that are longer term is helpful. In that, even what we're seeing right now with this rapid price appreciation that we were not expecting with the ETFs, even that we don't know the full repercussions until probably towards the end of this year. And then compound that with the halving happening.
There's not enough
So,
Bitcoin. There's not enough Bitcoin
yeah.
being produced for these ETFs. So that's the thing that's really throwing me off. Like, could we really see could there be $1 million Bitcoin? You hear all this crazy stuff, but could it really happen?
hmm
But anyways, and I'm telling you not to buy it, and I'm sitting here telling you not to buy it, and but anyway,
Well, my thesis is definitely $1 million Bitcoin, but I thought 10 years from now,
that's
20 years from now.
that's where I was about 10 years from now, $1 million Bitcoin.
But maybe Tech Hustler, we're too bearish for our own good.
That's good. That's a good thing. It might be a $3 million Bitcoin by then.
Sign me up,
Yeah.
right? So I got one last question for you here, and that is, if you could go back in time, you go back to those early days of you first starting in crypto, and all the things you messed up on, all the things you could have done better. Like, what do you wish you knew about the space before you had started? And maybe a better question is, if there's somebody listening right now and they are like, okay, he said it's kind of too late, but it's not too late. I want to jump in now. I've never started in crypto. What's my next step?
Well, here's what could have made me rich a long time ago. the first time I heard about it, I should have looked into it. I should have, even if it was if I would have put $100 in, I mean, that would have been like a tenth of a Bitcoin, So you just got to decide, am I going to do this or am I not going to do this? So, are you got some big kahunas or not? It's a risk. It is gambling, but so was email, so was internet. Either take the plunge or don't. You don't want to be a shoulda, woulda, coulda. So it's not a bad plunge to take.
I like that.
I hope that answered your question. I don't know. These are tough. This is new to me. This talking to human beings.
That was a great answer. I mean, one of those terrifying things I can think of for my own life is I get to the end of my life. I'm on my deathbed. If I do live to be old and I do have that privilege, and looking back on certain things and having woulda, shoulda, couldas or regrets or whatever. And I think it's great advice that if you think about things and you think you should be doing things, just do them.
My only thing was, if I would have made all that money early on, I probably would have blew it, or I probably would have had a drug overdose. So I did not need to be rich that early. I am glad that it's taken a little while, but I'm ready now. I don't do drugs. I'm ready. Okay.
So maybe the advice is do it, get your riches, but also maybe learn some personal finance basics along the way.
Yeah, definitely. Prepare yourself. Personal finance for anyone into crypto or not into crypto, it's very important that you at least learn some basics. They didn't teach it in my school in Virginia. Maybe they did in yours, but
they did not.
Yeah,
I wish they had. It would have been helpful.
Yeah,
before I racked up $80,000 of credit card debt.
Yeah, before bankruptcy. In jail.
Yeah. Well, my friend, thank you very much for doing this, chatting with me. I enjoyed this conversation, and if everybody who is listening enjoyed it and they want to follow Tech Hustler, there will be a bunch of links to all of his stuff down in the description. But thank you, sir, for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
And everybody, thank you for listening in. I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.